Hi, my name is Laura Zirkle. I'm with the Nerds of Color. I am so excited to chat with you guys about this. I got to see the whole thing and I love it so
Great.
much. I love the concept that you guys created this. You know, your daughter has blue eyes and you wanted to create this story, 15 years in the making. And I was wondering how this concept of the Edo period in Japan came about. Were there other options? Were you looking in different eras, different places? What were the other options or what made you decide this one?
This one was what immediately came to mind when just understanding that this was the most closed Japan was, the most when Japan was at its most homogenous, and it's still a very homogenous country. But this was when it was actually illegal to be of a different race in Japan. And so when thinking about what would it have been like to walk around with blue eyes in Japan, like this is when it would have been the worst. So that's when we really wanted to sort of subvert that idea of like, what we see in Western culture be, just kind of idealized blue eyes. Like when would it have been its most monstrous? And so and the Edo period is a beautiful time in history at the same
Yeah.
time, so rich in its culture. So it was just kind of like the perfect time for us to explore.
Well, it was beautiful, and the series is, and I like this. This is what I liked about it. But the series is graphic in violence and sexuality, and I was wondering what was the choice to have it be so graphic regarding in terms of violence and sexuality and sex versus the subtle sex and nudity. Was there talks to keep it PG-13 or was it always kind of like rated R?
This is just the way we have envisioned telling the story, and we had nothing but support around. I mean, we were very careful that when with any depiction of sexuality, we wanted to make sure that it was story forward, that it was necessary, that it was artistic and beautifully, wrought. We just made sure we didn't fall into any of the usual pitfalls of overuse there. And then with the violence, like we wanted to be kind of fun. We wanted to be beautifully choreographed. We wanted to be surprising. We wanted fight scenes that channeled the rage that was really the steady drumbeat of our storyline. So something that surprised people, took their breath away, and also had a good, we love watching, Kill Bill as much as the rest of the world. We love watching, I'm sure our favorite movie lists have a lot of overlap in the Venn diagram, and we wanted to have a good time.
Well, no, and there's so much detail, when it comes to this period. The outfits, the traditions, the stories, even the shogun and the geishas and the courtesans. What research did you guys do to ensure authenticity to the story?
Well, we read a lot of books and we watched a lot of movies, and we this was when we were writing most of the episodes. It was during like the hard early 2020 lockdown days, and we were home and we were enjoying the Criterion collection.
And we had the time to
And
give ourselves advanced degrees.
yeah, and we also hired a what was his exact title at Harvard? Maybe we want to do. He's just a researcher on Japanese culture at Harvard.
A gentleman named
Um,
Yukio Lippett,
and we would ask him questions when we had it, like if it's something we couldn't find on our own, and we sent him our scripts, and he would tell us like, okay, this is within reason, or maybe not
yeah,
this.
we
And then
really
we
just
would,
said like, tell us, when you come across something, does it that how are we doing?
yeah,
Let us know. Are we bending reality? Because we're doing the best we can, but you have to trust yourself enough to trust others, and listen to the experts. Similarly, we knew we were going to have some signage, and we wanted, our calligraphy is period specific. We went to the woman who designed actually our Blue Eye Samurai logo, Aoi, and
Yamaguchi.
Yamaguchi. Thank you. She drew, like, so when Akemi is reading the note that she wrote to herself of what to say to her father, she went and like did the deep dive of this is actually like, so it's the fonts or
And she
the
would make sure
cursive
even that the characters were characters that they used
period
then,
specific.
not now. So I mean, we tried to go deep where we could.
Yeah, and
Oh,
as best we could wherever we could. And food, very important. The food had,
yeah.
we spoke to an expert in Edo period food, Eric Rath, and that was a very well attended lecture. From everyone from the team came and listened to that one, because we all wanted to see, like, we were starving by the end of it. It was
No,
fantastic.
definitely. I mean, it's so detailed. And the feeling that it gives me when I'm watching this, is a little mixture of Mulan with and not the story, because Mizu is going for revenge, but a woman dressed as a warrior, dressed up as a man because of the privilege that the men get. What inspirations did you take for this story?
Actually, we've said this before, but I don't know if you're familiar with Yentl, and that's starring Barbara Streisand, and she dresses as a man because she wants to study the Torah. She wants to eschew the woman's life at the time, and it's the same with Mizu. She has the goal, she has this objective to be the greatest swordsman, and that's what she has to do. She has to, she can't go on a revenge quest if she's a woman. So this is, she has to do everything's in service of her objective, and which is to get revenge.
Yeah. And there's something to be said about the series, where Western countries colonized the Eastern and other countries, and how Eastern tradition is being decimated by Western machinery. Is there another symbolism or word that you want to say on this as well, if with your story?
It was the idea of a gun was
Right.
it's such a huge concept because in the samurai Bushido code, sword, like the idea of fighting hand to hand within certain parameters, that there's a gentility to it, and that there's an honor of dying at someone's sword and living, and that your weapons are things you hold in your hand and face someone with. Everything that was beautiful about that is destroyed by some bozo who can point a stick that has a fire and shoot a ball at you at supersonic speeds.
Mhm.
You need zero talent for that, and it's dispiriting. So someone who's willing, our villain, not for nothing, relishes this idea that I can take your most beautiful stained glass window and destroy it with a brick, and that is an awful thing, and makes for a really good villain. Even saying it, I hate that guy.
Yeah, no, well, speaking of the guy, Kenneth Braga, but you have an all-star cast, for the series. And I appreciate so much that you guys wanted to keep authentic with Asian voices, especially with the actors of Japanese descent, and having Maya, who is mixed Japanese, mixed Asian, play the role. And I know it was a top priority for you guys. Was there any pushback regarding casting or questions that they had regarding it?
Among the actors, or
Or from the studios, from writings, from
Yeah,
yeah,
everyone's on
I
board.
think everybody joined hands and was excited to be part of this project, and everyone was on the same page. It was really
Yeah,
exciting.
representation was everyone's goal. And it took some conversations about things like background voice actors, which is usually you would use a loop group but there have been conversations about we would like those loop groups to be,
Right.
specific as well and cast well. And people just said, sure. We also, wanted some disability representation, which you don't see because it's voice cast. But people both on the artist side and on the actor side, it was a chance to bring in some voices that don't usually get to play.
well, yes, thank you so much for your time. And I can't wait for everyone to see this. And it's really beautifully done. So congratulations on this project. And I can't wait to see more, because I want to see more of the vengeance piece of the next possibility for the future.
So we
So thank you.
need everyone to watch starting November 3rd so we can make more of this show.
Bring us
Okay,
fans.
perfect.
We'll tell the story forever.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much.
Fanboys, professional artists, and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock